Good morning. It's Friday, July 17th, 2026. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to practice Wudang Qigong. This morning I have the student set for set 9 in Wudang Qigong, Pi Gong. In Chinese culture, there is a musical instrument called a pipa, and the hand position for playing it is here. This is a pipa. If I had the instrument, you'd be able to see it. All right, it's very much like a medieval lute. So a long, uh, I know there's a special name for it. The piece that carries the strings, because it's a stringed instrument, and then a round, like a gourd shape bottom that has an open area across which the strings run, and so you finger it similar in some ways to what you would do with a guitar or a banjo if you were playing them upright. They're not, neither one of those instruments are intended to be played upright. They're intended to be played here, but that's the idea. And that reference to playing a lute, playing a pipa, is something that we use in Tai Chi as well. So here in Qigong class, we have a couple of things that are special to Pi Gong, the pipa exercise or the playing the lute exercise. Here, right? There is a combination of using the placement and position that we've already developed through the other exercises. There is also that sense of shifting the weight, going to one leg. And as we work through the exercise, there is an emphasis on using the center of the palm, the lao gong, combined with the centers here at the eyes, just to the outside of the eye and just to the inside of the eye, so that the connection between the palm and the eye is warm. The feeling should be warm and is well placed. Here, I'm going to do this facing the camera. We do this on the 45. So the set is here. I'm going to do it facing the camera so you can see my hands. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about what the student should be paying attention to. So here, the upper hand comes in, the lower hand presses out. Hands trade places. And again, notice the position of my hand here and my hand here. It's here. It's not here. It's not here. Right? Pull in. Right? Paying attention to the hand position, paying attention to how we press out. This press is different than this one, right? Same as we pull in, the hand changes. It's not here. It's here. That body alignment helps us to circulate the energy inside. In shifting the weight, I've talked about this with set 8, hold the ball. That alignment along the supporting leg. In this case, set 8, I'm just a little bit on my toes. For set 9, I'm on the heel. And I don't put my foot down. There's no step. in set 7, no, set 6, excuse me. Push, shift, I'm on the heel, push forward. No, I don't go anywhere. My hands and my waist move. That turning and twisting is one of the excuse me, is one of the things that at first a beginning student needs to understand. It's not here. It's not the upper chest and the arm alone. It's the whole body that moves. As my waist turns, my hip turns with it. My leg stays, so the hip needs to be open so that it can turn. The waist turns, the shoulders turn. Those 3 body parts, the hips, the waist, and the shoulders, are coordinated, and the small movement of each of those results in the larger movement. So we don't want this big turning, going all over I've shown that before. No. Mm-mm. The hips turn, the waist turns, the shoulders turn, and that makes that turn look bigger. We want to pay attention to the subtle movement here as I turn right here. The hip turns, the waist turns, the shoulders turn, the chest turns, the shoulders turn. All of that is well coordinated through the movement. The repetition is 5. So I start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull in. A little bit of a turn there because I will be on the 45. So come back to center. That last turn, as we pull in, both palms to the center of both sides of the body, just under the chest at the same level as the middle dantian, right here. Turn over and sink down. Shift, go to the other side. As we settle, paying more attention to connecting the center of the palm and the ball of the foot, the yongchuan. Sink and settle into that. This connection, and I'm referencing for beginning student now. If you're just learning this exercise, this would not be the first of the Wudang Qigong sets that you would have learned. It shouldn't be. This is not the place to start. Set 1. Set 6 is okay. Set 1 is better. Set 2 is okay. That preparation and foundation is very important for all of the remaining exercises. The progression in difficulty and in the requirements for the exercise. What am I doing? What should I be paying attention to? Are the movements bigger, smaller? Either way, they need to be well defined. That progression is something that a person starting out, the beginner, needs to understand, because without the preparation, it's very difficult to do the rest of the sets. It's not impossible physically, yeah, okay, but the understanding of what you're doing in the movement wouldn't necessarily be there. So starting at the beginning is what we need to do, right? In Qigong, we use that placement and body alignment. I'm going to say there's several things that I was thinking of, but body alignment, that placement and body alignment from the first set. First set. I'm here. My body is well aligned, well placed. I know where my legs are. I know where my shoulders are. I know where my hands are. As I breathe in, pay attention to the middle dantian. As I breathe out, sink to the lower dantian. The Laogong are both connected. Pay attention to the heels. Pay attention to the Yongchuan just behind the toes. All of that applies here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Pay attention to the Yongchuan. Pay attention to the Laogong. Settle. Turn in the hip. Notice what's not happening with my foot. Right here. Okay. This one. Right? As I settle, that turn is in the hip and the waist and the shoulders. That's how I get here. It's not this. I'm not trying to twist my knee. This is bad. Don't do this. Knee stays over the toes. Okay? And that is also something that I'm going to call out as being extremely important as we're on one leg, as we start doing some things that are more physically demanding. Paying attention to the alignment, the knee and the toes. The knee stays over the toes. The knee stays over the toes, period. It doesn't go to one side. It doesn't go to the inside. It doesn't go to the outside. It stays over the toes. It doesn't reach out over the toes. Stays over the toes. So if your thigh is more parallel to the floor, your knee is still over your toes. You don't go beyond your toes. It's bad for your knee. Don't do it. Those kinds of things are something that someone who has played sports, someone who has studied dance, someone who has studied movement arts would have encountered and might not even think about anymore. They just wouldn't do it. The beginning student who's never done anything doesn't know. Somebody has to tell them. And these are things that are very, very important for physical practice, as well as at the beginning level being able to understand what's going on in a particular movement. At the beginning level, a person can't see it. They have to begin to, that's the beginning level. You have to start to see the movement. That progression doesn't have to take very long. It doesn't. It depends on the individual. But it doesn't have to take very long. And once you begin to see the movement, once you begin to understand how the mechanics of the body work within the movement, then you start to make progress. Practice is how you get there. All right, so practice. I'm going to turn around. This is left side, right side, as most of the, all the rest of the exercises are. There's a left side and a right side. We start on the left and then transition to the right. As we pay attention to this set, I'm going to pay a little bit of attention to the breathing, not too much. I'll focus on that more tomorrow in the teacher's class. We want to pay attention to that coordination through the body so that there's just enough and not too much. Feet about shoulder width apart. Stand straight. Pull up through the crown of the head. Pull up through the center. Palms up, breathe in. Press down, breathe out. Relax. Shift the weight. Hand circle on the heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back to center. Settle. Open the back. Shift and circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And center. Settle down. Circle. Press out. Pull in. Press out. Pull in. Center. Shift. Circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back to center. Relax through the upper body. Relax the breath. Nice and easy. Pay attention to the waist. Pay attention to the hips. Pay attention to the shoulders. Not too much. Not too little. Pull in. Keep the body well aligned over the supporting leg. And on right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back to center. One more set. Hand circle. Pull in, press out, and come back to center. Hand circle, turn, and come back to center. Press down, breathe in, both hands up, breathe out, press down along both sides, pull up through the crown of the head, raise the heels and lower. Stay there, breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in, breathe out. Relax. As we do this exercise, I talked about this before we started. There are several things that we bring together from previous exercises. As I start here, settling into this leg is something that we first paid attention to here, pushing the mountain. As we move to either side, as we change and shift the weight from one leg to the other to change for either side, we need to pay attention to that good alignment over the supporting leg. We need that for later because there are things that we do. I just checked myself here. I need to check my weight. That come up here. Stay there. Couple of things have to happen for me to be able to stay here. First thing, most important, if my body is not well aligned, I can't do that. I was not as stable as I would have liked. I'm not nearly as stable as, I wasn't nearly as stable there as I am here. But it was all right. There are muscles in the lower abdomen that need to work, connecting into the hip. There are muscles in the center abdomen that need to hold and support, and I need to know where that center is so that I can find it. It's right here. Being able to do that is practice. It's essential for all of the movements that go from side to side, that we're changing the weight, right? And here, I don't really have that much weight. I don't have weight on my toe. Here, I have my heel set. It's not up here, right? It's here. It's set. But I'm using effort to pull the toes back. That muscle effort, right? So it's not just, well, I put it wherever. No, it's set and I want this to pull back. That causes a whole range of things to happen all along the leg and up into the hip socket, up into the abdomen. I have to pull up without the shoulders. That basic level of physiology is something that a student, beginning student, has to learn. Maybe they already know, maybe they don't, but it's part of understanding the body mechanics that we're using. It's part of understanding how we actually do the movement, because it does matter. The turning through the waist, the turning through the hips, the turning through the shoulders. Here. If I don't, I'm going to show this real quick. If I don't move my hip, and I'm going to go this direction. So here, what I should do is this, right? I turn around my leg. I'm going to do this again. I'm not going to move my hip. Okay. Not moving hip. No. Not moving shoulders or hip. Just the arms. Each of those is sort of correct. The not moving the hips, not moving each of the one that I did that was correct was correct. And clarify that. The one that was not moving the hips, sort of. The one that was just moving the arms, kind of. At a very basic level, yes, that was correct. The weight was positioned. The general shape of the posture was there. But the benefit, the actual practice, because just moving the arms is not actual practice. That maybe gets you started for this set. That's how we start. That's not what we're doing. And I've talked about this repeatedly, that at the very beginning level, this is a person who just walked in, they've never studied anything, they don't know. I said before, this is not the class to start with. That's first. Second, that person has to develop the skills. It's not, I can do this one time and it's going to work. I'm going to do this one time and I'm going to try. And then I'm going to try again. And then I'm going to try again. And then I'm going to try again. Each time we do it again, we get better at doing whatever it is we know we're doing. So if I know I'm moving my arms and I do that repeatedly, I'm going to get better at it. That's not a bad thing. Now that you're comfortable with moving your arms, let's talk about your waist. Beginning student needs to know that needs to come next. That needs to happen. Maybe they can't do it today. It's all right. Try for tomorrow. Tomorrow maybe. Don't know. The more we practice, the easier it gets to do whatever it is we're practicing. It also enables another level of practice. If I don't know the movement, 收回琵琶，琵琶功. If I don't know that movement, I couldn't just do that. If I don't know what I'm doing, I couldn't. It took time. It took practice. Practice. Each time we practice, we develop another layer of skill. Whether we make progress or not, we develop that layer of skill because whatever it is we take away from practice is more than we had at the beginning. That's always going to be true. The more we can pay attention to the requirements, the particulars for an exercise. So if I'm still paying attention to the physical movements, I can't pay attention to the breath. If I'm paying attention to the physical movements and the breath, I can't pay attention to the inner circulation. If I'm paying attention to the physical movements and my balance and the breath, I can't pay attention to the entree, the acupuncture points. If I'm right, I can't develop without having first learned the basic mechanics. Then I can begin to develop within that particular exercise, within that particular set. As we make progress, those layers become more and more important. At least they have for me, because that's what's kept me going in my own practice. The idea and the fact that we have more layers to work with, that it's not just this physical movement, that as we build on those layers, we gain more from practice than we would if we didn't practice. Practice is one of those things that I will talk about repeatedly, and I've been repeating it here for the last couple minutes. In developing our skills, understanding that we can't do it all at once, that it takes time, that development isn't a one-time thing, is one of the most important lessons for a beginner to learn. I thank you for being here today. I will be back tomorrow with the teacher's class. Same set, but from the teacher's perspective. Bye.